in the Quran we have a verse which says, "Inna salata kanat ala al-mu'minina kitaban mawquta," that Allah has appointed certain times in which you are required to pray. So this is an obligation upon all Muslims once they have reached a certain age, like over 10 or something, and this is not something which they can just ignore or consider it to be an optional thing. It's a fundamental within the 5 pillars of Islam.
So you're talking about structured prayer that you do?
Oh yes.
Every day at certain
the ritual
time,
prayer.
Right. Okay.
Yes, which we call the salah.
Do you do any personal prayer in your own time when you decide?
So when you say, look, I think the term prayer in English is kind of ambiguous, because when you supplicate to God, that is prayer in English, right?
Yeah.
When you do these ritual prayers are also prayers, which is also, but in Arabic there's different terms. So the ones where you supplicate God anytime, anywhere, any place. So you can ask God for anything, for any help you want, or for any blessing, or you want to pray for somebody else. All that come under dua, which is the supplication. Now, with regards to the 5 prayers, like I said, these 5 prayers, which are fundamental, which are obligatory, they have got a specific action you need to perform, and you need to cleanse yourself before you pray, which we call the wudu. So the cleanliness is also very important. Without that, you cannot pray. You cannot do the salah. And once you have done that, then you have to say certain passages of the Quran. You have to say passage of the Quran, and you have to say certain blessings upon Allah. Sorry, when I say not blessings, certain like we say Subhana Rabbil A'la, Subhana Rabbil Azim. So this is again praising God. So different praises to God. And this is what, as Muslims, we have a specific method in the salah. But when it comes to supplicating, you can ask in any language, you can pray, but the prayers, the salah, which is 5 times prayer, you have to do that in Arabic only.
Okay, so if I can ask you, in the simplest terms, why do you personally choose to pray?
Well, the simplest answer to that is because this is something which Allah, which my God, has required of me, and I, as an obedient servant of God, have to submit to the will of God.
Okay. Yeah. So, are you looking to achieve anything when you pray?
Yes. For example, the prayer, when it comes to the obligatory, so if I don't pray the obligatory prayers, then I am held accountable, and this is a sin. One of the greatest sins is basically not praying. And in fact, some of the scholars, they go to the extent of how to distinguish people who are believers in God, those who are Muslims and non-Muslims. Yes, they use this prayer as basically the guidance to distinguish between those who pray and those who do not pray. So those who pray are the ones who are righteous, and those who do not pray are not the righteous ones. And some of them even basically say that if you stop praying, then this is something that takes you out of the fold of Islam. But there's a difference of opinion on that.
Right. So besides for the obligation, your own.
Oh yeah, so the supplication, yes. Yeah. The supplication is something, for example, if I want good marks in the exams when I was a student, then I would pray to God to help me with the exams, to help me achieve good marks, for example.
When it comes to prayer for personal achievement, or
this is the prayer
even if to cure the sick, or
everything.
Just because you feel it soothes you to do so, how effective do you find it? Like, say, on a scale of 1 to 10. Well, how often?
To be honest, I haven't actually measured it on that scale, but many of my...
Just a personal feeling.
Yeah.
How often do you feel like it works? I mean, you're probably going to say something on the lines that prayer that no prayers are unanswered.
No, I wouldn't say that.
But I'm saying
I wouldn't say all
clearest, most straightforward, down to earth way.
Yeah.
Which ones have been?
There are many prayers of mine which have been answered, many prayers of mine which haven't been answered. But as a Muslim, I believe, and this is also from the prophetic tradition, that even if the prayers which are not answered, this is something you'll get the blessing of that in the hereafter. So maybe there's a reason God did not accept your prayers. Maybe it is something which is not something that is good for you at this time. So maybe He might answer your prayers later on, or He might not even answer those prayers, because like I said, maybe Allah has some other plan for you, something better than what you're praying for even. You see what I mean?
Right,
So
right, yeah.
I personally believe that whether Allah accepts or rejects my prayer, at the end of the day, it is something that I have no control over.
So the more you pray,
Yeah.
do you feel the more you're being compelled to continue praying?
No, it's the other way around. I believe that as someone who believes in God, I feel a connection when I pray to God, be it the ritual prayers or be it the supplication.
Okay.
The very term salah comes from the root word salah or something similar, don't know the exact Arabic pronunciation, which actually means to connect. You see what I mean? So I see prayer as a connection to God. And this connection is something which you'll find in every spiritual being out there. Be they Muslims, be they the Jewish, be they the Christians, be they even the other people who worship other gods. Because they have this connection. You see, this is something that fills the void within. So for example, if someone is on a plane and the plane is about to crash, they might start praying, more earnestly than they have ever in their life. So when you're happy, okay, I think there's a hadith which says that those people who pray when they are in good situation, when they are in a good situation, then it is more likely that prayers will be answered when they are in a bad situation. So it's not like you only start praying to God when you are faced with some sort of a challenge or some sort of a calamity or some sort of grievance or whatever it is. But you also pray to God during the good times. So when you are, for example, when you have passed your exams or passed I don't know, some sort of a challenge or some sort of I don't know, anything. For example, maybe you got married or you got a child or any other situation in your life, which if everyone, if you look at their life, they all have ups and downs in the life. So whether your lives have given you the ups or the downs, you pray to God regardless.
Okay. So why do you think the majority of people who pray do it?
Well, I cannot answer for everyone. They might have their own subjective reason, but from what I know, most people start praying when some calamity befalls them. So something bad happens to them. And this is something which is quite common regardless of which faith you follow. But you see, as a Muslim, we are taught that regardless of the times, regardless of whether you're having good time or a bad time, you pray to God. That is a connection you need to keep it established throughout your life. So wherever you go, whatever situation you are, however you are, look, there are certain people who cannot even get up from their bed because of certain illness. Even those people are told to pray by whatever means or whatever capability they have. Yes, they're told to pray. And this is something, a constant connection between you and the Lord you serve. This is something which is not something which is like just because you have a calamity you start praying to God. No, it should be done every day, and I would say at any time in your life.
And when you say personally, what kind of connection do you feel to God when you pray?
Look, prayer brings, Allah says in the Quran that Ala bi dhikrillahi tatma'innal qulub. That means if you remember God, to me that is a prayer. So when we say Subhana Rabbil A'la, Subhana Rabbil Azim, praise be to God, this is supplications, and this is basically praising God, a kind of supplication, a kind of a prayer. Yes, this is something that gives tranquility to yourself, to your heart. And this is a fundamental belief within Islam. It is something which is mentioned in the Quran. So a heart which doesn't remember God, a heart which doesn't appreciate the good times, and a heart doesn't remember God even during the calamities, the bad times, is more of a dead heart. And I mean that metaphorically, of course, yes. I don't mean your heart stops and you die. No, it is basically your spiritual self awakening is there all the time. This connection which I'm talking about, the prayer, is something that is established throughout your life. It's like how when your phone, the batteries run out, yes, it doesn't function anymore, or when the batteries are low, then you want to connect it to the power source, and that gives it some sort of a new energy, and this energy renovates. It's something that makes your phone function from when it was without any energy, without any battery. So crudely, I would put that as an analogy. So yeah, constantly remain charged in your daily life, regardless of where you are, with whom you are, in whatever situation you are in. And inshallah, God willing, your life will become better in that sense, in the sense that because you have got this connection with God, you feel somehow that yes, you are not alone. You are with the Almighty. He is always with you. So Allah says, there's a hadith which says that if you come walking to God, God will come running to you. That doesn't mean obviously literally in the literal sense, but basically you make a little effort to connect with God, and God connects with you even more than the effort that you're making. So it's like a two-way connection. So many people say that, oh, where is God? You don't see him. Where is your messenger? He's dead. But this connection with God is always remain there, whether the messenger was here or not, whether you can see God or not. This connection with God will always be there. Ultimately, one day, this will all be manifested to you in the real sense on the Day of Judgment, when you'll see all the prayers and all the supplications and how they basically acted in your life, and the ones that God had rejected, how God will now basically substitute that with the rewards that you could not have imagined. So praying to God is not something that you lose your time or your effort. It is something that is always beneficial in the Islamic perspective. So it is not something that will ever go wasted. Dua is a weapon of the believer. By weapon, I mean again metaphorically, it is something that is very powerful, which people should not underestimate. There's a hadith which says that the only thing which actually can alter the qadr, which is the destiny, is the dua, is a prayer. So prayer is not something insignificant. It is a very significant part of a believer, of a Muslim who believes in the oneness of God, who believes in Allah and prays to Him on a daily basis and establishes this connection throughout his life.
Yeah. Can you just explain a little bit about your personal experience of prayer, how it feels to you to be connected, or to be or if you don't pray. I don't know if you ever don't pray. Do you ever not pray? You ever miss prayers or something like that?
No, I wouldn't say I've not missed prayers.
Right.
I have missed prayers,
So let's ask-
but we can always
question.
make up those prayers, and this is something that we as Muslims have been given as an option as well.
Right. So can you describe at all that feeling of connection when you of connection to God when you pray?
Yeah, I personally feel that during this challenging times where we have, like there are many challenges you have in your life, many ups and
You mean
downs.
personal, please?
Yeah, I'm talking about personal, yes.
Okay.
Like everyone else, I have challenges in my own life, yes?
Yeah.
Whether it is job, whether it is marriage, whether it is children, whether it is friends, whether it is the community, neighbors, whatever it is. And I feel that I've been fortunate in the sense that most of these challenges is something that I have overcome in my life. And many of the things that I've seen in other people's life, like depression and all these other things. And I personally believe that having this connection with God has helped me a lot. Yes, I have not experienced some of the things that my friends have experienced. And I notice these things that even though they might claim to be religious and claim to be Muslims or something, they always neglect these prayers. And those are the kind of people who normally have had problems in their life. By the way, I'm not generalizing. Of course, there are people who are believers in God. There are people who do pray 5 times a day, who also have challenges in their life. And those people, it's a test from God, ultimately. And it is this test, during this test, that you do not lose hope in God. Because if you're praying when you have really very great calamities in your life, and you still do not believe that you have been abandoned by God, you're forsaken by God, this feeling of always being under the protectorship of God, regardless of what test He gives you or what challenges you're faced in your life, I think this connection itself is very helpful in the sense that it does not basically make me feel that I'm lonely or depressed or without any hope. It's the other way around. I feel that I'm never alone. I feel that I'm never left alone, or I'm always protected. Maybe this, whatever challenges I'm having or whatever tests I'm having, these are things which are temporary and they will pass. Like the saying goes, every cloud has a silver lining. Yes. So after hardship, there's an ayah in the Quran, after hardship, there is ease. Ease. Yes, like EASE, ease, yes.
And as a Muslim, do you believe that when somebody else prays to God, they can have that same connection and that same basically that same connection?
Yes, I think if they are sincere and they pray to God, then yes, I would say that they have the same connection. It's all at the end of the day, it's all about your intention and you believing the true God. So if you, for example, if somebody is saying that, okay, I believe that the true God is a stone, I don't believe that stone is able to benefit or harm that person in terms of prayer.
It's the creator.
Yeah, so if they say one true creator is someone I pray to, then yes, God will listen to their prayers, yes. But I think even the people who are atheists, God would listen to their prayers even, if they are sincere. So even the people without any belief in God, I believe God is listening to them, as long as they're making every effort to be a good person. And inshallah, hidayah, which is guidance from Allah, is something which every person has got an option to accept or reject.
Okay, final question.
Yes, please.
Do you have any personal experiences or a second or third hand story, just something inspirational about prayer?
I mean, as a first person experience, I mean, there was a time when I didn't have children and I prayed to God and God bestowed me with a child and then another child. So this is something I think that is, maybe I think this is common, I don't know. But there are things like during the exam I prayed to God, I'd made very little effort and I passed during those exams because the paper wasn't as hard as anticipated. I don't know, I mean, there are many things. There are things, there are many times in life where there were challenges and those challenges were overcome by prayers. And there are many times when Allah did not answer my prayers. Maybe, I don't know, maybe I wanted to buy a particular house and I prayed to God, God, please help me buy this particular house, and it did not transpire. Maybe, I don't know, that location, that house, that property was not something meant for me. And I got another house and I believe that was a better house at a better price. Alhamdulillah. Okay. Praise be to God, yes.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome, my friend. Yes.
Okay,
thank you very much. You're welcome. Okay, Jazak Allah Khairan.
بارك الله فيك جزاك الله خير بارك الله
وياكم آمين إن شاء الله وياك وبارك فيك سبحان الله الحمد لله بخير.
From where?
Me?
Yeah.
I'm originally from India.
Wow.
Yes. From Hind, من الهند.
India.
And you?
Kerala?
No. Gujarat. From Sheikh Didat. You know Sheikh Didat? Same city.
I'm from Syria.
Oh yeah. Where? Homs?
No?
Latakia, okay. Allah make it easy for the Suris, inshallah.
But you are very much educated in deen.
Alhamdulillah, we try.
Very much.
We try, not very much.
More than us. We are Arab, we don't know much.
Inshallah.
Barakallah feek.
Barak feek. Inshallah, Allah give us all the ability to seek more ilm, because that is what is going to help us, inshallah.
Barakallah.
So we help the other people as well, inshallah.
Yahudi هذا يهودي.
Yes, نعم.
Anyway,
شو عم يحكي؟
على السلام.
I follow you up.
On YouTube?
Always.
MashaAllah.
Really?
Barak Allah feek.
عن شو الموضوع يحكي؟
He wanted to ask me about salah, about dua.
They are Jewish.
Yeah, they are Jewish. But they are good people.
Yeah.
They're good. They're not bad.
Yes. They are seeking knowledge. Yes.
Allah gives them hidayah as well, inshallah. Yes. You can go now. You got that whole conversation?
Live.
Did you get it? Real live? Live. MashaAllah. Take care, brother. Jazak Allah Khair. It was good actually, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's good, yeah.
It's nothing. It
It's
sounds
what?
a bit fishy to me. It's nothing.
No, because it was about dua and prayer. Even if they were Jewish, doesn't matter. I mean, as long as it helps someone when they listen to it,
Yeah,
inshallah.
that's right.
So where's Gali? Yes, man. I was waiting for you. I was wondering where you were. Assalamu alaikum. So yeah, listen, Kashif